What is up, everyone? Happy Friday, December 10th. I'm Chris Manning. That is my guy, Evan Dammerall. Today, we're going to talk about trades, I guess, because there's Damian Lillard fake trades, that one that ESPN put out that is Cavs related. And then we're going to talk about Caris LeVert because the Pacers are going through some stuff right now. And we're going to talk about Cavs Wolves, which take place Friday night and is the first of a 2-game swing for the Cavs this weekend. That is all coming up today on Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And also, I want to thank you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen every day. Remember, we are free and available on all platforms. And we're on the way to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Go hit subscribe right now. Do us a solid.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Evan, we have a busy Cavs weekend ahead. Cavs Wolves actually should be tons of fun. And Cavs Kings will be a game. That will certainly be a basketball game.
It's good to see Tristan Thompson come back finally with a full arena. I mean, I'm trying to think when Boston was in town last year. Were there fans in attendance or no?
No idea, because guess what time since March of like 2 years ago is just feels fake.
Yeah,
Feels
we
fake.
have 2 Sonic the Hedgehog movies in the ether now. Folks, I'm very, very excited for the second Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I never really liked the games. I got into it with Sonic Mania, but then I saw the first movie because I'm like, it looks awful, and it was pretty bad, but I had a fun time watching it, and usually I'm a cynic when it comes in, a big grump when it comes to movies, so just Idris Elba is playing Knuckles the Echidna, and that blows my mind still. But yeah, no, this will be a fun weekend for the Cavs.
Yeah. Evan, let's start with Damian Lillard because there's you got some engagement on a tweet that was taking a ESPN
So much
fake
so
trade.
that someone from Cavs PR said, "Wow, your Twitter was busy today," and I'm like, "Was it?" Because I muted notifications on the tweet as soon as I posted it.
That's like honestly one of the most depressing sentences I've ever heard. Is someone saying, "Wow, your Twitter was busy today." I think I would like off myself if someone was like, I would just walk into the lake.
Well, my heart sank for a second because I'm like, who did I piss off in the Sexton sphere this time? And I'm like, no one. I haven't really talked about him because they're not a championship team without him. And 2, he's not a part of the plans going forward right now. So why care about it?
Okay, so this Damian Lillard trade, I'm just your shenanigans. I just move on. Why don't you run through this trade? Run through what it is.
I can pull it up, but I'm going to go off it
Well,
off the top of my head. I know the crux of it is Isaac Okoro and Colin Sexton, and then multiple picks from Cleveland on Cleveland side of things, and the Cavs get back Damian Lillard and Robert Covington, which, oh, thanks for everyone who got me to pass 6K. That's pretty cool. But sorry, I also just saw
here we go.
Markkinen in military fatigues with the Ushanka and sniper rifle, and I shot it up. Don't worry. So it'd be Colin Sexton, Isaac Okoro, Kevin Love, a 2022 first-round pick from Cleveland, the 2022 second-round pick from Houston, and a 2024 first-round pick from Cleveland, all unprotected. Why is there a gap in years? Because of the Stepien rule, because of former Cavs owner Ted Stepien. But in return, Cavs would get Damian Lillard and Robert Covington. I was surprised by the pushback. I mean, I get why Cleveland wouldn't do this trade. I think the Dame aspect of it is like my biggest hang as well, but I'm more surprised that people weren't on board with the fact that it would take so little to get Damian Lillard to Cleveland.
Yeah, I didn't feel like this trade was like actually like all that realistic from that standpoint.
It's very unbalanced. Like Portland, like the argument ESPN made said is like this is the best package the Blazers would get in terms of young prospects because they also floated a trade with the Sixers that doesn't have Ben Simmons. They get Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey instead. And I'm just like, huh, interesting. But I think Portland could do better if they really wanted to go in. Like they could call up Oklahoma City tomorrow, and I'm sure the Thunder could roll out the farm for Damian Lillard if they wanted to.
Yeah, I think there's two other parts. There's two things of this that came to mind for me. Number one, I think that Dame is gonna have a say in like where if he wants to go, he's gonna do some dictating behind the scenes to get where he wants to go. I don't like spoiler alert. I don't think the Cavs are like on that list. The second part of this Well,
No.
I'll do 3 things. Number 2, I don't like Robert Covington's like actually not as good as people's like reaction him was. Like people were like, oh, they get a really good wing defender, blah blah blah. Robert Covington is like only really good as like an off ball defender, and he's not a good primary defender, and
He's
he
not a
doesn't
good point
shoot.
of attack defender anymore.
No. He never really was, to be honest, and he's mostly always been really good as like an off ball team defender who gets steals and stuff. Also,
Well,
isn't a great shooter.
He peaked during his time like Philly, and then after he went to Minnesota, he was pretty
He
solid
he
for a
be
little bit.
but he became like a center basically who like defends wings like
Uh-huh.
like an off ball like that is like there's a reason like the Houston front office and that version of the Rockets like really coveted him. Uh,
Coveted
Covington.
Covington.
See what I did there? Yeah. The other thing of this is I think if you're a team going in on Dame, you're I think telling yourself Damian Lillard is 31. We're gonna pay him tons of money the next couple of years. Our title window is now. I don't know if I believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers title window is like staring them down the barrel. I don't know if this is the kind of I don't think like getting Dame and like
Well,
bringing
especially
him
if they
in.
trade Colin Sexton.
Well, yeah, and I think if you like go all in on Dame, you're trying to like become a title contender. And I don't think this gets the Cavs there. And like he's like, I think like sometimes we can overrate like how in sync like your ages are and things. Like sometimes like some of that stuff I think can be overrated and overthought as we're kind of picking nits on trades. But I think for this, I just don't like. I don't want. If I'm broadly, well, and we'll talk about this with Caris LeVert too. If I'm the Cavs, I'm still at a point where like I am looking for upgrades. I'm like looking to see if I can get a certain kind of upgrade. It's like blasphemous to say because I love Dame and I'm a Dame true believer and like the leadership stuff is real and like all that stuff. I just don't know if this is the thing that I am like going all in on. And again, I do not necessarily believe that like Damian Lillard is like going to be like, yeah, I'll go to Cleveland. I just like that isn't necessarily Cleveland, but I just don't think that's like something Dame is. If Dame's going to go, it's going to be like a clear cut title thing where he can go and compete and probably kind of dictate where he wants to go.
Well, does he have a no trade clause in his contract?
I don't think so.
I don't think he does either. So this could very much be like a Cavs situation with Kyrie where they just find the best offer for them and them as in Portland.
And teams absolutely have the right to do that. Like they do.
Yeah. And I just don't think Portland's going to do that, though, because one, that's a PR nightmare. This is arguably the best player in franchise history who has been now on the record saying he wants to sign a 2-year, like $80-something million contract extension or something like that. Like he wants to be a Blazer for life. Like this could be a PR nightmare on the Portland side of things because Dame has made it very clear that he wants to ride this out with Portland. I think his hands-off approach is really what's hamstrung him the most. And I think his frustrations are kind of his own fault with the situation there. Like he could have been more active in star recruiting. He could have been more active in telling Neil O'Shea and others like, hey, I really want Jason Kidd as a head coach instead of just saying it once and then being indifferent about it when they don't really pursue Kidd. They pursue Chauncey, or you can say, hey, I question a lot of these free agency moves. We should be going out there and making star player moves because again, I'll remain on the record. I think that Blazers Western Conference Finals run was a fluke because they beat a gas Nuggets team in double overtime in Game 7 because I think that was also the night of the battle.
Yeah,
too.
I'm a little I'm a little just like if you make the conference finals, like you get credit. Like I don't that.
Oh, you get no. There's
yeah.
credit where credit's due, but at the same time, like they had a clear path to get there, and a lot of things went their way to get there.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "Oh, why aren't the Blazers repeating?" I'm like, "Well, it's pretty obvious because one, CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard just will get shredded defensively. On the Cavs side of things, though,
well, like yeah,
this would be a mess."
So I'm saying yes. Like I would say I would not do this. I understand why you might, but okay, you're also saying no. Okay.
There's better talent plays out there for the Cavs if they really wanted to go big name hunting.
Okay. I think that's right.
And I think we sound a little picky here, but
I think
I'm not focused on the young core.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm focused on that partially, mostly Mobley, Garland, and Allen. If you can go out there and you accumulate the assets you've acquired to go get a big name star, I would prefer it to be a wing player if I had any fight in the game. But the Cavs are a little bit of a goofy organization when it comes to team building. I don't question it much because it's somehow still working, but I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I feel like we don't always like really know what sometimes they think about some of this stuff. Like it's just like our track record of like what Kobe Altman and his staff sort of like actually views is like sort of like skewed by just like the moves speak for themselves, obviously, but like
Well,
Like,
we've
I
seen
think
a letter from the desk at Kobe Altman soon.
that'll tell us nothing. The
They miss Colin Sexton.
oh, um, that just good PR move on that
Chris,
part.
quit hurting your brand, man. Jeez.
I think like the marketing thing is like an opportunity cost. Yeah. I know that's all you do. What the marketing thing is like, I think like an opportunity that presents itself and you try to like maximize it. And like I think the Allen like
Yeah,
I there's just like some of the there's like just some
I don't.
unknowns in like the philosophy here that I feel like it makes it hard to sometimes project some of the stuff. But Evan, let's talk about another player after the break, Caris LeVert.
I want to talk
We'll
about marketing just like for 30 more seconds too after we come
Okay,
back.
yeah, let's talk about marketing and we'll get into LeVert after the break. But we got some ad reads and you're up first with our friends at I believe. No, I'm up first with our friends at Shopify.
Nailing
Shopify,
it.
look, only nailing it. We got to separate some things today. Shopify is awesome. If you don't know, Shopify is a complete commerce platform that lets you start, grow, and manage a business. The subscription-based software allows anyone to set up an online store and sell their products. Shopify store owners can also sell in physical locations using Shopify point of sale (POS) are their point of sale app and accompanying hardware. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big business. So upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online, do in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Scaling your business is a journey of endless possibility, and Shopify helps you make your entrepreneurial dreams come true. Right now, go to shopify.com/LockedOnNBA, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and to get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Go to your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/LockedOnNBA right now. Again, that is shopify.com/LockedOnNBA.
Today's episode of Locked On Cavs is also brought to you by TrueBill. Do you know why free trials renew without your consent? It's a business scam out to get you. Do not, and I mean do not, let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download TrueBill today to take control of your subscriptions. TrueBill is the new app that helps you identify and stop pay for subscriptions that you don't want, need, or simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 per year with TrueBill. Just because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, TrueBill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and TrueBill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your TrueBill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. TrueBill has saved over 2 million users and helped save them over $100 million combined. That's a lot of Skrilla. Do not fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. Go right now, TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. It could save you thousands a year. TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA.
All right, Evan, you have another Lowry point. Let's get into that before we move on to Caris LeVert.
Yeah, I think Lowry Markkinen, this is an opportunity for him to kind of rehabilitate his image. I think he's done a pretty good job of that so far with the Cavs. I think he's showing that he is still a good 3-point shooter. I think he's showing that he can play. I'll do a little bit of other things other than be a spot up shooter. I think the non-guaranteed year in his final year of his contract, or partially guaranteed year in the final year of his contract, is a really interesting trade caveat for the Cavs. And I would not be surprised if Cleveland moves Lowry this offseason to maybe make one of those talent play upgrades, because marketing makes a lot of sense on some contending teams. I'm sure he makes sense in Cleveland too. You can make that argument as well, especially if they move on from Kevin Love. But at the same time, Markkanen's preferred destination was always San Antonio in the grand scheme of things, but money got caught up on it. So then Cleveland put their name in the game. And Chicago also made things difficult too, because the Bulls were really ready to make things uncomfortable and drag this out in extension talks. So I don't know. It's just really what I'm thinking. Like, the Cavs they could make a trade for Dame Lillard tomorrow. I would question it. But at the same time, like, it's weird to think like this is how Kevin Love gets to Portland finally. It's not to play with Dame Lillard, though. It's to play with CJ McCollum and Colin Sexton and Isaac Okoro next season. But yeah, I just think Markkanen is going to be like not a key trade piece, but he's going to be part of salary and maybe a little bit of a talent play because he's maximizing his potential here in Cleveland right now.
Yeah, I think he also has like he's one of the few salaries they have that is like good for salary matching purposes, and like that's just part of it. Like
It's
they
not
don't
like
have a
it's
lot.
not like they're trading a bad contract either. Like, it's not a
Right.
bad contract attached to a bad player. Like, he is
Right.
serviceable.
Yeah, and then like in theory, like if expiring deals don't take as on much value, but like a Love marketing, like Love expiring plus marketing in the offseason, like is a lot of money you could combine that you could like kind of
It's
attach
like
picks to. And I would,
40 something million, right?
yeah, it's a lot of money. All right, Evan, let's talk about Caris LeVert because the Pacers are in a very tricky situation. They have Miles Turner kind of unhappy with some stuff that is going
I
on
finally
there.
read that. I was like, geez Louise, that's not
Yeah.
good.
There's reports 2 days ago that they're linked that they are potentially going to look at trading Turner, Sabonis, and LeVert. There are some questions about like when they'll do this, how aggressive they'll be in that, and stuff like that. What I will say, oh, and I should note that Chris Frieder of Cleveland.com reported that, quote, multiple members of the Cavs organization are reportedly fans of LeVert. So keep that in mind. When you look at this Pacers situation broadly, the Cavs are obviously not a Turner or Sabonis team, right? Like they have Mobley and Allen. They're not going to make a move for one of these two bigs. So LeVert is the guy you would look at. What do you think of Caris LeVert?
I don't dislike him. I understand why the Cavs are fans of him, especially after losing Colin Sexton, because it's clear, especially against Milwaukee, when Darius Garland is off, if you have like Drew Holiday putting the clamps on him throughout the game, you need a secondary offensive creator in the backcourt to kind of alleviate some of that pressure that Darius is facing, and also maybe create if Darius is off on a certain night as well. Like, yeah, he's on a hot streak, but he's going to have bad nights too. Every player does. So I don't dislike the Caris LeVert play. My hangups are, one, what would Cleveland give up for it? Because either they're going to have to give up a lot of key rotation pieces to be closer to the luxury tax threshold. I don't know if they'd go over it if they traded certain players for him, but let's say it's
If there's, I'll put this on I'll just say this is very bluntly. If the Cavs are going to be in a situation where they are going to make a trade, there is really, I think, no world where they should or would go into the tax right now. It is not worth it for where they're at right now to do any kind of trade that would put them in the tax. It is
the
financially
Cavs aren't
be a
a
dumb decision to
title
do so.
team. They
Yeah.
aren't a title team. They are a playoff caliber first, possibly second round team. You should not go in the luxury tax for that. I will forever remain in the mentality there's no need to rush on it. Like trades become open next Wednesday for certain contracts, and it becomes more open after the fact. But
Because December 15th is the date that guys that were signed this offseason can thus be traded.
yep. So it's just like, why rush into that? I think maybe the Cavs, they are a patient organization. They do take certain things down to the wire. I give credit where credit's due there. They are good at that sometimes, but why rush it? Why would you try to gut your roster? Because people are saying, "Oh, trade Isaac Okoro and Jetty Osman and like Dean Wade," and like that still doesn't even work. So you still need to make up like $6 million in salary to match Caris LeVert as well, and you
Mm-hmm.
give up future picks as well. Like, why would you jeopardize next year's draft? Because let's say the Cavs trade for Caris LeVert next week. Let's say he is a shot in the arm for them, and it gets them like that 6 seed spot, so they avoid the play in and they lose in the first round. Great, they don't have a first round pick because they probably put like top 10 or lottery protections on it. And I don't think that's worth it in the grand scheme of things. Because also, continue to see what's growing here. I'll reiterate, Darius Garland told the media after their win over the Bulls, like people need to be patient with Isaac Okoro as well. Maybe see what you have closer to the trade deadline. If let's say like the Cavs are trending upwards and they're becoming a playoff team, maybe they make a move that kind of just pushes them over the edge a little bit. I'd prefer to see like a Buddy Hield or a Harrison Barnes type play if I could,
And
because I think
those are just even trickier to get to. And
they
Barnes
are.
would be like all these trades are tricky is the thing.
All these trades are tricky, and you're gonna have to give up one of Kevin Love. You're gonna have to probably give up a young piece as well. And like I think that's where it gets a little uncomfy for me. And I just don't think it's necessarily worth it when teams' books will be a lot more clear and a lot less murky next offseason, and the Cavs can then go make like a talent play. Like, I'm not saying Brandon Ingram's available. I think Brandon Ingram's a player that'd be more available if like Dame Lillard says I'm done with Portland. But if the Cavs are able to get their ducks in a row and keep their chips on the table and they cash in next offseason, I think again that's just the more realistic move. And then you say, okay, they have a playoff caliber team. Let's build upon that. Then really make the push for like the second round or even the Eastern Conference Finals or something like that.
Yeah. So the two obvious mechanisms for a LeVert trade would be Osman plus Rubio, or excuse me, Osman plus Sexton or Rubio straight up. You could do other versions where, like, you send Kevin Love out and take 2 players back. You could do other versions with
No.
like more young players and stuff like that. Like, none of these things are exactly clean is sort of the thing here. I don't like hate the LeVert fit. If there's concerns about it, it's like not a particularly like he's not been good this year for one. Like, he's just not been good this year, and you could argue like some of that's the injuries, and he does have a very like tricky injury history that is concerning.
My man had cancer, so
Well,
it's
yeah,
tough.
but even aside from that, there's also just like the dating back to him like in college and things like they're like the reason he fell in the draft was injury concerns. Like, and I don't think he's ever like fully dissuaded them from folks. Um, as far as like what he is as an offensive player, very mid range heavy, which isn't like bad per se, but like he's not a 3-point shooter in volume. This year he's in the bottom 10% of wings in terms of 3-point rate. Like, not he's never made them at like a clip where you like feel very good about him being a shooter. 27% this year, 32 the year before, 37 and 36, 30. Like, he's had 2 good years, and then every other year has been like in the 32 to 34% range. And this year he's even lower. Good at the rim for the most part. Pretty good in the mid range, all things considered, even though it's like probably not the most efficient use for what he is. Like, I think ball handling and shot creation is like clearly a need for this. Like, even if you were going to say, okay, we're going to re-sign Ricky Rubio this offseason, and we're going to keep Sexton, I don't think like getting more guys who can handle the ball to some degree is like even a bad philosophy. Um, I wonder if just like this is if depending on how much this would cost, like I think the shooting is a concern. Um, but I don't hate it. I would like this is like also just like lower. This would be lower risk than Dame because it's shorter amount.
Oh,
It's this year
yeah.
and it's this year and next year. The cost to obviously be much lower. If you wanted to like keep your first, I think you could like theoretically. I think maybe you could like if you could find a way to do where like it's not like maybe the Houston second and do some other seconds. You maybe avoid giving up a first, like, or you could slap some heavy
Yeah,
protections on them, like
that's terrible.
yeah, there's like some machinations where like you wonder if you're helping Indiana. The name on Indiana that actually like intrigued me the most in a vacuum, but he's not tradable until next summer because of his extension, was Malcolm Brogdon. Just because he's this like bigger, sturdy defensive guard, like can shoot it, like
Brogdon
just
is a player that would pair really well with Garland.
But he's not available to trade until next summer. So like it's if we're talking about the right now, it's you look in Indiana, it's like LeVert and like TJ Warren would also be interesting, but TJ Warren has not played due to these Achilles injuries, and like he has not been the same since the bubble. So like
Nope.
you could do like love for like LeVert and Warren, but like are you getting anything out of TJ Warren this year? It's like very up in the air that if that would even help you right now. And LeVert this year again has not been all that good. He's not been the LeVert of like whatever LeVert's apex was. I don't think by all accounts. But I mean, like I'm intrigued. I'm not like not intrigued by LeVert. It's a little tricky, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I am too.
Well,
I don't hate. No,
yeah,
the fit makes
yeah.
sense. Like, it absolutely makes
It's not,
sense. Like,
but it's not clean. It's like none of
it's
these.
not clean.
There are very few. Here's the thing. I would also it's sort of my philosophy of this, which is a very pompous way of saying what I think about this. So I apologize for sounding like a pompous d-bag. In terms of what you're doing with trades, I don't think fits are ever like exactly clean, right?
No.
Like there are very few guys that are just like clean and perfect and fit anything and stuff. Like LeBron is like unique for a variety of reasons. One of them is because he can fit a lot of different styles of play. Some better than others obviously, but like that's how this works.
Yeah.
I think LeVert would be like a interesting fit, but not perfect. Like even Ingram, who I think would be like the highest end kind of thing that people kind of fantasize about, would be like a really interesting fit. But it's also not as like if the defensive stuff, like if he continues to be kind of on defense, and like that's
Yeah.
like makes it like less of a fit. And there's all these other things. All of this stuff is complicated. It could work and not work. We've said this before. I think the next 2 years of the Cavs, if they continue on this trajectory, if Garland and Mobley and Allen as a trio kind of leads this team where it seems like they might be headed, then how aggressive they are and what kind of players they go after is going to be one of the more interesting stories in the league. Evan, but after the break, we're going to talk about Cavs and Wolves.
One last thing for context.
Yeah.
The Pacers only had to give up Victor Oladipo for Caris LeVert, and they got a second-round pick for their troubles.
Yeah. So maybe get him for it's the salary thing is really the trickiest part of this because the Cavs like don't have like tradable salaries. They're already like a thin team and they don't have like Like trading
and
like
they're
2
hard
rotation guys
capped.
for like they're in a really, really weird spot. So let's just keep that in mind. Okay, but we're gonna after the break, we're gonna talk about Cavs Wolves, which takes place Friday night in Minnesota. Kevin Love, the Ricky Rubio homecoming, all kinds of feels. But first, gotta tell everyone about our friends at Stance. I love Evan. I don't know if you've ever gotten to wear Stance socks,
Oh, I love
but
them. Adore
they're
them.
they're really soft. They're really unique. They're a ton of fun to wear. I have a couple pairs for running, and they're like my favorite running socks because like they're just super comfortable. They keep my feet supported and cool. They're great. And like they give you a sense of confidence because you're feeling good and you know you look good. Founded in 2009, Stance Apparel represents a radical reinvention of socks, underwear, and active apparel. With a sharp focus on comfort, quality, and creativity, Stance brings an atypical aesthetic alongside some of pop culture's hottest collaborators for the ultimate in style and self-expression. Because everything you wear should be a direct extension of who you are and how you feel. There are some great designs. They have Batman, Star Wars, Harry Potter, the NBA, Bob Marley, Marvel, a ton of other stuff. I love their socks again for running. Also have a pair of Star Wars socks from that have Darth Vader in them that are a couple years old, but I still wear them anytime I'm just chilling and watching some Star Wars. Evan, do you have a favorite of the designs?
Stand socks are actually my dress socks of choice. So when I have to go to formal events and things like that, I usually like to peacock a little bit with my socks. I have a Goofy pair, Disney's Goofy, that my mom got me a few years ago. They're one of my favorites, and it has like the back of his head on the back, like where my calves are, and his face on the front, and it's really nicely stylized. Other than that, I have a lot of Cavs ones back when they're the official sock of the NBA.
Look, and Stance believes that is the perfect fit. Matters. Stance believes the perfect fit matters more than fitting in. Those that who feel good, do good, go see for yourself. Register for an account at stance.com and get 50% off your purchase. All you got to do is use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout to apply. Enjoy the color and comfort of life less ordinary with Stance. All right, Evan. So,
One less trade proposal for you from
okay.
listener Matt Bracalo, who just DM'd me 15 minutes ago. Bryn Forbes for Kevin Pangos and Denzel Valentine, and one of either the Houston pick or the San Antonio second rounder this year. Would you take that?
No. Why would I? No. What? I don't think
Yeah,
Bryn Forbes is like juice in my
it's got,
gills.
he's got Michigan State grit though, dude.
Okay.
As
No.
JD Bickerstaff, I wouldn't hate it. I guess I don't know. The Spurs have a bevy of guards. I think the Cavs should really hit up San Antonio to see if they can pry one of their guards
I don't.
off
I
their
don't want a
hands.
guard. I want a wing. If I'm the Cavs, is the thing.
A guard with wing size, Chris.
But how tall is Bryn Forbes?
6'2", so no, obviously.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my God, he went to Sexton and Lansing. It just writes itself.
I'm done with this. I'm absolutely done with this. That's a hard no for me, dog. So the Cavs Wolves. Evan, what are you looking forward to in this game? Give me a thing that you're intrigued by.
Rudy Gobert embarrassed them, even though contrary to what Patrick Beverly and Anthony Edwards said. So I'm interested to see how Evan
Anthony
Mobley and
Edwards saying that Kristaps Porzingis is the best rim protector in the league is some wild stuff from Anthony Edwards, who I adore otherwise. Because that's a
I
wild
adore
statement,
Anthony
my
Edwards.
dude.
He's my favorite post game player because it's always just something's gonna happen. And he's just a fun player overall, and I wish people didn't dog him as much. I'm interested to see
Hope he
how
tries to him trying to dunk on Jared Allen might fucking rock if that happens.
that's one thing I'm looking at is how they protect the rim against Edwards, and more so how they defend Cat, because Anthony Edwards told Karl Anthony Towns, like, listen, stop waiting for the double team. You're the like one of the strongest and baddest dudes in the league. You should just be running the floor and getting down and trying to impose your will in the paint. I'm interested to see how a young Cavs team that really tries to form their identity in the paint defends Cat on this one, because a lot of people are down on Karl Anthony Towns just as a player. I'm still high on his upside. I think he's really good for the Wolves and what they're trying to build. I question a lot of the other moves they've made up to this point, but I like Cat personally. I'm just curious to see how the Cavs handle him, because if he gets going, it could really be a snowball effect, because like D'Lo could probably cook Darius. Like they're probably going to throw Isaac on D'Lo to start the game, don't you think? Or on Ant. That's a
He's
tough
got it.
matchup.
I
That's tough.
yeah, I almost think Isaac has to defend Edwards because like he has the strength to at least like try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I honestly I think Darius would be fine on D'Lo.
Well,
He'll
I
be
don't know.
fine.
Then there's the marketing factor too. Former Wolves draft pick Larry Marketing before he was traded to Chicago. But
Yeah. And looking at who
I
they,
always
I'm
look at the
gonna.
defensive matchups. That's the first thing I always think about is how are the Cavs going to defend the best players on each team? And
So if
Larry
the
Marketing
yeah.
really just becomes like my
Well, there.
question.
No, this is pretty easy to me. Let's just say they go. Well, the other night, D'Lo. It looks like D'Lo didn't play. But let's just say they go D'Lo,
I'm
Edwards.
pulling
I'm
up the
gonna
injury report too.
yeah. So so they went like Friday. They went Beverly, Edwards, Prince,
D'Lo is
Jared Vanderbilt.
questionable.
Okay.
McKinley Wright is out, and Pat Beverly is probable.
Okay. So let's just say they go D'Lo, Edwards, Prince, Vanderbilt, Towns. Okay.
Mhm.
Garland defends D'Lo. Okoro defends Edwards. Markkinen can hide on Tower and Prince or Jared Vanderbilt. Evan Mobley hides on the other one. And then Allen defends Cat. That's pretty straight up to me.
Well, I don't think you're hiding Mobley out. Mobley just plays off
It,
of one of those two and
yeah,
then just
hiding's the wrong
protects the
word, but he's
paint
gonna
and
just
then
sit on them and camp in the paint and then eat up space.
be a free safety.
He's gonna help onto Edwards in Towns. Like he will play a lot of help defense, and so will Markkinen. Markkinen on Edwards would be like an insane decision to be like 1-on-1 because Edwards will cook him.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wonder if JV's gonna overthink this because he thinks Laurie is a good defender sometimes. Because I've seen Laurie defending some of the better players on teams to start games. I'm just like, what are we doing here, folks? But I think maybe we'll see some more Lamar Stevens minutes as well, just because of what Minnesota possesses and what they present. Torian Prince has been really bad
Cavs are
for them.
actually -1 favorite right now in this game. Interestingly, on the
That
road,
doesn't surprise me. The Wolves are not very good,
they're better.
and
They're
they're
better
better
than
than
me right
last
now.
year,
Yeah,
but they're still not great. And then if Danny Cunningham was on the pod, he'd defend them tooth and nail right now. So because he's a Minnesota boy, transplant living in Cleveland.
yeah. Um, so and I guess I want to see the Rubio reaction. I want to see that
Yeah.
as a ton thing, and I just Towns is sort of like the guy that I want to see how he plays against what the Cavs are doing.
Yep. That's just like my biggest intrigue factor is like this is a good test for Evan Mobley too. Like this is Towns is inconsistent, but he is all star quality. And how Mobley defends that is going to be always interesting to me.
Yeah, if the Cavs win this and then they could just, win on the second night of a back-to-back back at home against the Kings on Saturday, like that just is another successful week. They'll be on a 3-game winning streak at that point.
Yep.
All in all, would be a fairly successful run of play here for the
And then they get
Cavs.
Jimmy Butler in the Heat on Monday if Jimmy's available.
Yeah, which they have a nice little, interesting little stretch of games for the Cavs coming up ahead of the holidays. You get Houston next week, who's not good, but has won a bunch of games in a row and has the KPJ. I am curious to see what the KPJ discourse will be. I think it's probably gonna suck.
Oh, I'm sure Cavs fans can be overwhelmingly toxic about it and wring their hands over things like Chicken Little, this whole situation. They moved on. It's fine. The Cavs will put up outside Houston's locker and welcome back Kevin Porter Jr. because they did it every time Kyrie came to town, even though Kyrie never played. So,
But this should be a fun weekend. So what we're gonna do,
yep.
just because this is obviously only our 4th episode of the week, I will be recording a recap of Cavs Wolves Friday night with a look at Cavs Kings for Saturday, and then we'll be back on Monday recapping the Kings game and looking ahead to the Heat game. And we have a ton of fun coming up here as we get deeper and deeper into the season, and the Cavs kind of trudge on together. The Cavs are 1-point favorites per our friends at BetOnline. And thanks again to Stance, to Shopify, and to TrueBill for sponsoring today's show. Again, follow Evan on Twitter at @Evan. Find me on Twitter. Well, actually, don't follow me on Twitter. Twitter's a dumb website. Don't follow me on it. I hate it. And everyone, we'll be back on Monday, or I'll be back later. Evan will be back on Monday. Have a good weekend. Evan, any final thoughts?
No, everyone have a good weekend. Enjoy themselves. Stay safe as the holidays are around the corner. If you need to do any Christmas shopping, shop local. That's all I got to say.
Oh, yeah. Remember, Evan, next Wednesday, we have a gift exchange we're doing.
Oh,
at
no,
the
I'm
game.
ready, dude. I bought you the gift bag. I'm so ready to go.
Oh, I wrapped it. I wrapped yours. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
What do we think the security guard at the arena is going to think when they check our bags and there's Christmas gifts?
They'll be like, what's this? They'll be like, I have a Christmas gift for someone.
No, I'm going to make sure I'm going to arrange it so we can arrive at the same time and then make it as awkward as possible.
We can film the entire thing and post it on Locked On Cavs.
I don't want to do that, but we should. Maybe we'll do here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put this in the books now. After post-game media, we're gonna do the gift exchange and we're gonna do some pre-game chatter on Spotify Green Room. We haven't done one of those in a while.
Yeah, we haven't. Let's do that. That sounds fun.
Let's do that. We'll vibe. We'll talk about some stuff. Talk about like whatever and open Christmas gifts. It'll be a good time.
See you
All right,
then.
everyone. Be well. Talk to you after the week. Talk to you after Cavs Wolves Friday night.